makes a shirt of his car. Take that cigarette and burn you in a little hole right there. Sipping whiskey from a paper cup. You drown your sorrows till you can't stand up. Take a look at what you done to yourself. Why don't you put that bottle back on the shelf? Yellow fingers from your cigarettes. Your hands are shaking and your body sweats. Why don't you lean on Jesus? He's got the answer. Gonorrhea on Valentine's Day, herpes. You're still looking for the perfect lay. You think rock and roll will set you free? You'll be deaf before you're 33. You're shooting junk until you're half insane. A broken needle in your purple vein. Oh, why don't you lean on Jesus? He's got the answer. You sleep all night, work hard all day. Then you take your money and you blow it all away. You think maybe someday you'll be a superstar. You never hung around enough to find out who you really are. You got to die. Now think back to when you were a child. Your soul was free, your heart ran wild. Each day was different, life was a thrill. You knew tomorrow would be better still. Things have changed, you're much older now. If you're unhappy and you don't know how, why don't you look into Jesus? He's got the answer. Yes, he does. Why don't you look into Jesus? He's got the answer. Yes, he does. You ought to check it for yourself. Look into Jesus. He's got the answer. He is the answer. Some say he was an outlaw, that he roamed across the land with a band of unschooled ruffians and a few young fishermen. And no one knew just where he came from or exactly what he'd done. But they said it must be something bad that keeps them on the run. Some say he was a poet, that he'd stand upon the hill, and his words could calm an angry crowd or make the waves stand still. And he spoke in many parables that few could understand, but the people sat for hours just to listen to this man. Some say he was a sorcerer, a man of mystery. He could walk upon the water, he could make a blind man see. And he conjured wine at weddings and did tricks with fish and bread. He talked of being born again, he raised people from the dead. Some say he was a radical, he always talked of being free, and he was followed by the people on the shores of Galilee. He spoke out against corruption, and he bowed to no decree. And they feared his strength and powers, so they nailed him to a tree. Some say he was the Son of God, a man above all men. But he came to be a servant and to set us free from sin. And that's who I believe he is, 'cause that's who I believe. And I think we should be ready when it's time for us to leave. And I think we should get ready, 'cause it's time for us to leave. Life was filled with guns and war. Everyone got trampled on the floor. I wish we'd all been ready. Children died, the days grew cold. A piece of bread could buy a bag of gold. I wish we'd all been ready. And there's no time to change your mind. The sun has come and you've been left behind. A man and wife asleep in bed. He hears a noise and turns his head. She's gone. I wish we'd all been ready. Two friends walking up a hill. One disappears, one's left standing still. I wish we'd all been ready. There's no time to change your mind. The sun has come and you've been left behind. Life is filled with bombs and guns. Heaven help the little ones who die. I hope you'll all be ready. People, gold, oil, wars, death. I hope we'll all be ready. 'Cause there won't be time to change our minds, and no excuse for being blind. The clouds will open up and Jesus will come down, and those of us who believe in him will go home to be with him. And those of us who don't believe will be left behind. Don't be left behind. Don't be left behind. Don't be left behind. Don't get left behind. So down, just hanging around, wondering what to do. Suddenly I was surprised from out of the blue. The birds sang their song while I walked along. I suddenly felt quite odd, 'cause out of the sky fell a note from Mr. God. And it said, you got the blues, but you can shake it. If you have faith, you can make it. You have a chance, you must take it while you can. Don't give up hope, never lose it. You have a choice, but you must choose it. And that's what it said on this note from Mr. God. Well, this wasn't really a note from Mr. God. It was just a tract that someone had dropped on the ground, and this wino came along and they found it and they read it. And you know how it is sometimes when you read something that seems like it was written just for you. Well, that's what he thought. Who could know him this well except for God? So this must be a note from God. But it wasn't. You know why they call it Alcoholics Anonymous? It's because when you drink enough for years, you can't always remember who you are. My life is all changed, it's all rearranged. No longer do I feel odd. All because of that note from Mr. God. Chin on the ground, and suddenly you feel odd. Then just look all around for a note from Mr. I'm glad you're all having a good time. I'm so happy it's not raining this time. Isn't that nice? I guess the grass wishes it would rain, but today's our day. Tomorrow maybe they'll get their day. It's not up to you. If a man should divorce the wife of his youth just to marry another woman, and his life goes off course and he strays from the truth, let his fall be to all a kind of omen. What's wrong with this body? This body is ill. It's full of disease and it's dying. This body needs healing. It needs to be filled. We got to stand on our feet and start trying. When a friend turns his back and grows jealous and cruel and tries to destroy your reputation, you will gain what he takes if you pray for that friend and concentrate on your own salvation. What's wrong with this body? This body is ill. It's full of disease and it's dying. This body needs healing. It needs to be filled. We got to stand on our feet and start trying. What's wrong with this body? This body is ill. It's full of disease and it's dying. You know, my body needs healing. I need to be filled. I got to stand on my feet and start trying. Bum, 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 bum. Many are called, but just a few off the path. And while others get sidetracked by illusion, Well, some of you brothers will just sit there and laugh while the world keeps on stumbling in confusion. There are false ministers preaching from the conceits of their minds, misleading their congregations. As they twist and bend the scriptures for financial designs, they are keeping revival from our nation. What's wrong with this body? This body is ill. It's full of disease and it's dying. This body needs healing. It needs to be filled. We got to stand on our feet. We got to get on our knees. We got to fall on our face and start dying. When I was growing up, I found out that God didn't create the world. That the world was created by accident. There was a big explosion in outer space, and the Earth was a rock. It was on fire, and it was zooming through space, and then it stopped. And the fire went out, and then it got water on it somehow. And there are all these little one-celled animals swimming around in the water for a couple billion years. And they got tired. So they swam toward the beach and they rested on the sand for a couple billion years. And then they kind of got hungry. And they wanted to walk around and find something to eat, but they couldn't, because they didn't have any legs. So they grew some. Then they were walking around, and they looked up in a tree and saw some fruit. And they stretched their fins and climbed up in the tree, and they ate the fruit, and tasted good. And then they weren't hungry anymore. And they didn't know what else to do, so they changed into people. It takes a lot of faith to believe that. It takes a lot of faith to think that the world was created by accident, that order was created from chaos. My room never cleaned itself up. You know, look at the way our bodies are made, how they work. They're complicated. Look at nature. You know, if you climb way up in the mountains, nature is orderly. There's no gardeners up there, but the flowers, the trees, they plant their own selves again and again. There's order here. And to say that it happens by accident, what are the odds? I don't know how something could turn out like Earth has turned out just by accident, but it sounds like it's about the same odds as if there was some big explosion in the alphabet soup factory right across the street from a stationery store, and all the little letters in alphabet soup landed on the paper and accurately printed the Encyclopedia Britannica. I think God created the world. If you're here and you know that, then you rest in that. But if you're not a Christian, if you're not sure if there's a God, you can find out. You have to ask God to reveal himself. You know, you don't have to study all the religions that have been followed by men, or take a poll among your friends and find out what each of them believes. If God exists, if God is there, if he created the universe, then he's powerful enough to communicate to you if you want him to, if you ask him to, and if you listen. And you know what your life is like. Just talk to him and ask him to reveal himself in a way that you can understand and know that he's there. God, are you there? I'd like to know for sure. I don't want to spend my whole life believing in you if you're not there. But if you are there, I'd like to know. I want to know the truth. I'm an honest person, basically. I know I do things that are wrong, but basically I want to know the truth. And I understand about sin. I know I sin. Everybody sins. I do some things I don't even want to do them. I do them. I know I sin. And I ask my friends to forgive me when I hurt them. So if you're there, I need to ask you to forgive me. It must hurt you to see how I live. I'm sorry. Forgive me. If Jesus is the only way to get to you, if Jesus is the door, I'll open the door. If Jesus is the bridge, I'll cross the bridge. I want to know you. I want to know me. I want to live differently. If you have to reveal yourself through Christ, I'll accept Christ. If you'll show me. I know he could be raised from the dead. If you made the world, you could raise him from the dead. I don't have a problem with any of that. I just don't know for sure, and I need to know. So if you're there, reveal yourself to me. And I'll follow you. I will. Just talk to God. And be honest with them. Don't hide some of your person from him. Be a whole person with him. If you're not a Christian and you'd like to be, you can be. If you're not a Christian and you're not interested in it right now, or you don't know what I'm talking about, well, you're listening right now, so maybe if you are interested in it later, you'll know what to say. You'll know how to pray. If you want to become a Christian, you can be. You can't do it by being good. Nobody goes to heaven because they're good. Nobody goes to hell because they're bad. You go to hell because you spend your life here on earth running away from God. And if you run away from him, you will succeed. When you die, you will escape heaven. Not because you're bad, but because you were running away from God. And people get to heaven not by being good, but because they're following Christ in this life. And when they die and cross that line, they're still following Christ. And he leads them into his kingdom, into his world, into heaven. And if you're not following Christ, if you're running away from God, you won't have to go to heaven. But hell is eternal separation from God. If you want to be a Christian, you can. But you can't become a Christian unless you ask God to make you a Christian. If you don't know how to pray, just speak from your heart. I'll pray with you right now if you don't know how to pray. Just shut your eyes so you don't see all the people and you don't see the lights. Just look inward and think about your life. Think about your sin, the things that you know are wrong, and you do those anyway. Think about your need to change. Do you want to change? Do you want to give up your sin? Do you want God to reach inside of you and rip the world out of your heart because it's poison in you? Because you're poison in you? God can put himself in your heart instead. You can be living instead of slowly dying. I am a servant. I am listening for my name. I sit here waiting. I've been looking at the game that I keep playing. I keep on staying much the same. When you are lonely, you're the only one to blame. I am a servant. I am listening for your call. I've been unfaithful, so I sit here in the hall. How can you use me when I've never given all? How can you choose me when you know I'd quickly fall. But you touch my soul, you help me grow. You let me know you love me. I might feel worthless now, but help me make a vow and humbly bow before thee. Oh, please use me. I feel lonely. I am a servant getting ready for my part. There's been a change, a rearrangement in my heart. At last I'm learning there's no returning once I start. To live's a privilege, to love is such an art. But I need your help to start. Oh, please purify my heart. I am your servant. Unfaithful servant. Good night. God bless you.